Welcome back. We return to the party, awaking in the bitter cold. How long does that dome stay up?
8 hours, I believe. Full
8 hours?
8 hours.
What is that even called? What is that spell called? I probably should have looked this up before we started.
Tiny Hut.
Tiny Hut.
8 hours.
That's right.
Yep.
Little 10-foot radius, all nice and cozy. So,
Yep.
Giant cuddle puddle.
for 8 hours, you have a giant cuddle puddle of comfort and warmth. As you finish that long rest, it goes bye-bye. A light snow falling from the sky. You feel the bitter cold. It's almost a shock from the warmth of the hut, the disseminance of it out into the cold. You are thankful for your warming items. Anything that is exposed, you certainly feel that bitter cold. What baffles you is the signs of life that you still hear and see in the woods further up north here. The birds chirping and singing their songs, and other animals, some you're unfamiliar with.
As I clean up our camp space, getting rid of the makeshift fire pit, I'm gonna turn to Asher. Are we doing the same thing today?
I think it's too cold for those eagles.
Alright.
It was getting pretty bad near the end of it.
It was, especially being even further at altitude. It's yikes. So,
I don't know if this is going to be helpful, but I'm going to pull out my flame tongue and try to utilize that 15-foot radius of something warm. You know, like a makeshift heater that's portable for people who need it to move next to for a brief moment, to kind of help take the edge off. I will go ahead and roll. It's a wisdom check. I rolled a natural 19, so...
Yep, you're good. Even just with some time, since it's out of turn, you'd be able to light it just after some time of concentrating on it. Yeah.
Alright. I don't know if this is going to do anything, but I feel like any warmth would help. Let's keep going.
The terrain itself starting to get colder. Slightly uphill as you make your way towards the mountain that you can see clearly peeking over the horizon. Coming over a small hill after working your way up the rocks and the bramble, the icy architecture of this terrain, come to a cliff face, a small one, overlooking a bit in the distance an aura of blue, the frozen water of the river, massive. You reckon you still have a good while before you get to even the base of that river, but beyond that river, it's all uphill from there.
As we approach the lake, the river, the ice river that we're approaching, I'm gonna turn to Asher. I know you mentioned that the bird might be too cold for this, but if you can just fly us over, fly one group over, and then fly the last group over to get us across pretty quickly. Just stay low. Just
That might be the best idea, because can we like look at the river to see like depth of ice? Does it look like it would be?
Oh, it's frozen solid. Yeah, it's not something you have to worry about. Like, it's a land bridge at this point.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, it's a good distance off, but you can imagine as cold as it is, there's no way that the river's not frozen.
We can try, or we could. It looks pretty solid, so it's up to you guys.
probably just be slightly quicker, in my opinion. I wouldn't want a possible fight on this thing.
That's true. I'm gonna look at all the weight and be like, I could take 2. How long would it take to span this flying?
To get across it'd be about a day's worth on foot of crossing the river. Like the river itself is a day's worth of length.
Oh.
That's on foot. So, I mean, I guess if you're carrying somebody, that would be cut in half. But
So it'd take me like 3 days to cross this for everyone to cross, essentially.
So that would be days of people being separated from the group.
I think it's a little big for... We might just have to hoof it.
Sorry, I'm just trying to calculate time. Because
But
it
you
took
are
us
also-
2 hours to fly two hexagons.
You already traveled up with a little bit with your traveling, and then you flew over to the second hexagon, this one with the 2 little hills and the 2 trees in the center, and that's basically where you are right now.
Okay.
When we get to the icy bit, because I want to just put Kiron in his pilot mode, he's going to be holding his shape water, so if anything feels thin, he can freeze an area. So he's not been here before, so just to prepare to make sure we don't fall through, he's just gonna hold his shape water for ice.
You feel as some of the light snow grows a bit heavier, coming down thicker. It's harder to even see out towards that lake or the river as far as it is now with the overcast of a blizzard.
All right. We should
Everybody
before we cross.
except Cole and Aurelia. Cole, did you get a warming thing, or you're just growing off of your resistance?
From my understanding, I also got a cloak.
Cloak as well. Okay. So
Yes.
that means you and Aurelia will not roll this, but everybody else a Constitution saving throw.
$15?
So you are saying that there is a storm that is coming through, correct?
A little bit of one, yep.
Before this gets any thicker, we should take some rope and tie it around each's waist so we don't get lost or separated if vision and sight becomes an issue.
That's a good idea.
What were the rolls?
Dirty 20.
15.
I'm gonna
Both
pull out.
16.
Both 16. Everybody passed. 15 was the DC. But with that, you take half damage. With that, you'll take half damage. So quarter damage, you're taking 4 points of cold damage.
I'm gonna go into my bag of holding and pull out one of 2 of my ropes, which 50 feet. And Cole, why don't you take the lead? And I'm gonna give him the front, and I'll take the back of our traveling. I'll take the end of the group. And I'll start helping tie people's waists. However, the marching order is going to be after Cole.
I'll be behind Cole.
Okay.
I think me and Aurelia in the front is a good idea, since we are more accustomed to the area.
I'll stay right behind you. I may or may not stay in this form. There's local animals that seems to be a little bit better off here than we are.
Yeah. We come across a bear, I might have to say we might have to take it down, and we can improve our cloaks as we go along. If it's needed. I hate to do that, but survival. And I'm gonna tie Aurelia, and then Cole, Asher, Briar next, or Karun, and whoever, and then I'm gonna tie the last bit around my hips.
Okay. You have your little train as the weather picks up a little bit. You move on, traveling down the hill, this valley now a little bit. Again, pretty rough terrain. But you're making the most of the day that you have. Not that there's much daylight to be had with the overcast of the skies and the storm overhead. You see as you come into a more of a clearing that leads the rest of the way towards the river. Less trees, less rocks in your way as you lead down this valley. Something might catch your eye. Roll a perception check. You are muted.
That's a 24.
24. Cole, you notice as you're leading the way, in even trampled underfoot, little icicles that you're stepping on, almost as if they had fallen from the sky, scattered around, as if some of the snow at some point had turned into icicles that had fallen from the sky.
Am I able to hone in on where it could have came from, like north, south, east, west, in front of us, behind us, left or right?
The sky.
I know. Okay, I know the sky, but I'm imagining that if it was the sky, it was something that was from the sky shooting down, so it would have made a
bit of an angle,
a cone.
Yeah.
Yes,
so the
an
angle that
a cone.
they were making, with their weight and not necessarily a strong gust blowing, it's very, very subtle. So roll an investigation to see if you'd be able to kind of determine that.
13.
The 13, it's hard to tell, but if you were to have your best guess, just from the angle of some of them and the way that they land, and if there was wind during some of the gusts, that it was probably from the north, further up north.
Okay.
There appears to be icicles that came from the sky north, further ahead. could possibly be from Von Siloth itself. Small explosions. That's a total assumption. Keep our eyes out as we continue tracking.
We would continue.
Yeah, paving your way forward. Roll a survival check.
That is a dirty 20.
With a dirty 20, you're confident that you're still heading on path, just from the memory of the view that you had briefly before the storm came through when you stood atop that ice plateau overlooking this river. Fairly confident that you're headed on the same track.
That's great for this one, but for future reference, could I have Aurelia give the help action for advantage on checks?
Sure.
Since we had her in the front as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yep,
cool.
this is
Thank you.
good as you'll get, so you're good. For this.
Sure. Yeah, I just mean in future reference, when I roll that 6, I'm gonna want another roll. So that's why I was just double checking. Okay, cool. Yep.
Okie dokie. Working your way towards this frozen river. The terrain starts to pick up again after you've made it through the valley. The terrain that encompasses this icy river. The embankments on either side. At this point in your journey, nighttime has approached, so it's your call. You cross the river at night, or... Yep, so you still have probably about an hour of walking before you would get to the river's edge.
Do we want to...
It's getting late, but I think if we want another hour of travel, we could get to the river's edge. I think trying to pass at night is not a good idea, but if we could at least get to it, so we have the full amount of the day to get past it, I think that is the smartest decision.
Couldn't agree more. That
It'll
was
be coldest at night, so the river should be the most frozen it's going to be first thing in the morning when the sun comes up.
It also gives us a smarter opportunity to possibly not have something coming to attack us from one direction,
There should be...
since the river would be at our front.
and the river, and the weather. We could have a better chance of weather tomorrow. This overcast is a little uneasy. I don't know about crossing a blizzard on a sheet of ice is smart.
Depending on how thick the ice is, we could possibly do some fishing as well, get some more food. It's never a bad idea to get more.
I do have an idea. I've never used a spell for this. It seems a little mundane. But Asher's going to cast Druidcraft and create a tiny sensory effect that predicts the weather for the next 24 hours.
Let's
The
go.
next 24 hours, it's about to get worse.
Does
how
the
much,
tiny hut
How much
protect us?
of the next 24 hours? Like, does it give you like an hour by hour type thing, or?
No, it just says weather will be in the location for the next 24 hours. Effect might manifest as a golden orb for clear skies, clouds for rain, falling snowflakes for snow, and so on. It persists for one round.
It's gonna get worse. It's a bad omen.
A little weatherman appears in his hand saying,
Hey, mate,
fucking
what's
cold.
up? It's gonna get fucking cold. It's raining sideways.
What is that one dude from Family Guy?
Yeah, it's raining sideways.
Well,
Back
so
to
much
you.
for thinking it would be better tomorrow, but it'll still be with the sun out, it'll be a little better.
Right now, as you are approaching sundown, you can actually see just a little bit of it across the way. as it starts to go, you can actually just see not the actual sun disk itself, but the bright aura of it as some of the sky clears for a moment. Just a light snow, the fog lifted. You can see you are decently close to the river.
All right. Let's start setting up here. We can probably take this off. Everyone's gonna start unfastening the belt.
So were you...
sorry,
let me... were you going to use another hour and get close to the river edge, or were you going to stay back that hour? Okay,
yeah,
no. Another hour to get literally on the river bank, and then set up for the night, and then...
Before we do set up, you make your way towards the river edge. About 30 minutes in, feeling like you have a better pace now with the lighter, the blizzard gone, just the lighter snow in your way, the sun kind of shining just off the surface of the river. It's a beautiful sight when you can actually see it now with some of the fog lifted. You hear a off in the distance, cloud coverage rolls in. Now about 30 minutes away from the river's edge.
For clarification, does Tiny Hut protect us from the weather?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
With Asher's Tiny Weatherman, can we get a assumption of how long this storm that is about to approach is going to last?
Nope.
You say nope?
Nope.
What about a survival check on Asher's part to be like, that storm looks like it's gonna be...
Go ahead. Try.
Yeah.
It's gonna rain.
It's gonna rain.
That's a 24.
I have ESPN. It may be intense. You get that sense that it might be an intense storm for a little bit coming up. You don't know when. And hard to tell how long. Maybe judging by the if it's a similar kind of effect, by the scattering of the little icicle spikes that had fallen. Brief, probably.
Yeah, we'll find a cliff face closer to the river and set up camp quickly.
Pretty how quickly that dome of protection can you cast it? Pretty instantaneously?
11
Or-
minutes.
Oh, we should set up, like you said, Asher. Definitely.
11.
Yeah, so we'll try to find basically have a rock face to our back where the river is in front of us, rock face in the back. Nice protected area.
Roll a survival check for them.
I'll give you help.
Yo. That is a 19 plus 8. So 27.
Yep. You see one just a ways off. You figure you can cut the distance in half. Maybe only just a few more minutes closer to the edge. Not enough to be, not enough to affect your tomorrow's travel across the river. I need Constitution saving throws from everybody, because you've been traveling for a little while in the cold. Everybody except Cole and Aurelia.
Dirty 20.
$19.
Blind succeeds, I fail.
What was the successes? I need the numbers because the DC has changed.
His is a 22.
22.
And mine is a 10.
And you do fail. I need to roll some dice. Welcome to the cold.
I keep forgetting to cast that on myself.
Can you cast it on other people?
Yeah, cast it on anybody. It's a fucking cantrip, and I always
Dude.
forget I have it.
Somebody that just failed, maybe.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna be in the tiny hut. It's gonna be warm in there. It's fine. It's okay.
Oh, and it is ability checks, not saving throws, though.
Ah, okay. Never mind. Sorry.
Okay. 24 points of cold damage for you, Briar.
Okay.
Everybody else quartered. 6 points of cold damage, correct? Right?
Yeah.
Yes. I don't do math.
With even with
Well,
the
it should
failed
be
save,
half.
Yeah, it should be half for
It
should be
3
half.
anyways,
Yeah,
right?
she's-
so you're
So
getting
it's
the
12.
Yep, you're at the
Yeah,
12.
got it.
She is resistant.
As you're working your way over there towards the little rock face, I need everybody to make dexterity saving throws.
Oh, shite.
natural 20. Let's go.
23.
17.
I
30
rolled
point.
2 nat ones for myself and blind.
Okay. You had 17. Did anybody else have lower than 17?
Let's keep in mind, Holson, about the rope. Rowan is at the back, so he's pretty heavy boy with his gear. And Korun, we agreed, is in the middle in front of Asher.
Yep.
And Bree is directly in front of me. So if that
Is
can give a little bit
anybody
of,
up
we've
above?
created a balanced line. So
Because
just in case.
From the sky, icicles start to plummet from the sky, from the clouds. You feel everybody will take damage, but some more than others that are unable to dodge from just sky.
Reaction shield.
Could we
It's not an attack, it's a dexterity saving throw, so it's not an attack type thing.
Really? Because it
Yes.
sounds like we're being attacked by icicles.
Being attacked
it's
by
like a
icicles. So I'm gonna roll an attack with each icicle. No, it's more of like an effect, like a spell
Okay.
area of effect type thing. What were you saying, Cole?
I was curious if Cole would be able to throw his spear and try to break some of the icicles as they were coming down, and an ability to, dodge or stop some of
That
them
can be
from
just a
hitting.
part of your success in
Okay.
succeeding
Okay.
that dexterity saving throw. In the meanwhile, I need to roll the actual damage for this.
If we're doing that, I would like to do spend the superiority dice on Briar, to move her. I
Okay.
can move her, so if I see it coming, I can allow her to move, a maneuvering attack. To allow a creature you see or hear to use its reaction to move up half its speed. Oh, I guess that's provoking an opportunity attack, but it's maneuvering her. I don't know if you would let me use it in that way.
Like-
Like I see it coming. Yeah.
There is. It's like dodging rain at this point. So let me hold on.
okay.
Let me get this actually.
Because shield would be more of like an umbrella going up, and that would make more sense. But
That would make more sense. Yeah.
yes.
Everybody who failed, which is Blind, Briar, and Aurelia.
Wow. 17.
With the 17, that was it. Yeah.
Aurelius got evasion.
I don't. Not at this level. I don't think so.
Yeah, that's like level 5 rogue, I think.
I have uncanny dodge.
Everybody who failed, it is 20 points of piercing damage that has come down from the sky. Everybody that has succeeded, still taking half damage, 10 points of piercing damage each.
Thank
It's
you,
just-
David,
is what
because
it
you're
is.
amazing and I love you, but I actually have evasion, so I don't take any damage.
Okay, but if you guys are using evasion, why can't I use shield?
What is evasion exactly?
When you are subjected to an effect that allows you to make a dexterity saving throw to take only half damage, you instead take no damage if you succeed on the saving throw. And
It
only
is a
half damage if
reaction.
you fail.
Yep, you're good.
It is a reaction.
So you take no damage from that. Something that you're actually kind of familiar with is icicle storms. So you do succeed with that.
I was wrong. My character sheet's just having a moment. I do have evasion as well, so I'll use it too.
But you failed.
So she takes half damage.
So she takes half damage.
Okay, so you do take the 10 instead
Yes.
of the 20. Cool.
Yes?
Yep. Yeah.
No, you said
No, I said,
said
cool.
my name.
I said cool.
No,
you said my name. Okay. Last bit there, as you make your way under the that rock, it's nothing to really get under. It's more beside. But you're gonna start casting your little spelly spell to build a little hut.
Yep. And then Asher will hallucinatory terrain around us to block the sight from
Okay.
outside.
So building tiny hut, is it concentration? Or
No, it's just ritual and it's done. 11
It's-
minutes.
well, it hasn't been 11 minutes yet, so we will have to
Yeah.
endure some of this. Go ahead and roll dexterity saving throws. Everybody once again.
That's a 6.
that is a 13.
27.
There she goes. She said, not again. She
17
said, not
for me.
again, bitch.
17.
Dirty 20 for Keron and a 10 for Bree.
And for Bree. Everybody who's above 15 succeeds because now you have a little bit of the coverage of the rock face that you kind of have, still kind of like ducking and covering over your heads. I gotta roll some dice. Okay. That's the same. That is 20 points of piercing damage from the sky. Once again, for everybody who failed. Everybody who has takes your 10.
Asher's gonna cast Cure Wounds at level 3 on Briar because she's probably looking pretty fucked up.
A little bit
I
damage.
That's 3d8 plus 5. That's gonna be 26 health coming right at Briar.
All right. But after that, the tiny hut is placed over, and with that, you all duck in underneath there, and you feel, or you hear just on the outer dome of the hut as the icicles pelt down from the sky.
Well, we are in for a lot more than was expected.
All right.
I'm going to use my sword. Did my sword do anything at all during that travel? Was it just worthless? Did it not do
You mean
any edge?
during the travel? It's
Well,
you
wanted
haven't
to see maybe.
Well, it's kind of hard while you're walking to be like. I mean, maybe the person in front of you, you could be like, "Hey, here," but
That's true.
yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna use my sword just to help start the fire to start it as quick as possible, without anybody having to use magic since I have it out. and start cooking some more food with coal.
You're muted.
I go up to Briar and I rub her arms to warm her up.
She's got little scrapes and scratches on some of her cloak where you see the icicles were falling there, almost kind of like how snowflakes each have their own pattern. These icicles themselves had like a pattern, and it's almost like it's a bladed pattern. It's like, wow, sky, fuck you. not you. It's like the sky is saying, fuck you to everything on the ground.
How's everyone looking?
Before he gets into the hut, Kuron's gonna cast a healing word on himself, so... Yep.
Okay.
I think let's get some food, and we'll all feel better tomorrow, hopefully.
We're still 30 minutes from the actual river itself, correct?
Now you're about 15, so yeah.
15. Okay. Cool. For tonight's dinner would kind of use some of the soup from last night, as well with bread, and put some spices in there and turn it from like a chicken noodle soup kind of more to like a spicy chicken, kind of like a chicken tortilla
chicken tiki
kind of
masala.
soup. Yeah. Kind of trying to get everybody's blood kind of flowing back, seeing that obviously this cold temperature is really, they're really looking pale, but yeah. That's what he does.
Yes, it is warm and comforting. It's almost that like if you've ever been in that frigid cold where there's like nothing more you can do, where you're just like, fuck. That's just how it feels. It's just like, wow, this is unbearable. To most, to you guys, you're like, I'm sure it's terrible. But, I mean, you do feel like you're immune to the damage effect of it, but you do feel the temperature. You can tell that it is like frigid cold. It's not comfortable, but you're not like damaged by it. Cole, you certainly feel that like your warming cloak is certainly doing its job. So
Asher's gonna look to the group and be like, I think we might have bit off a lot more than we could chew coming up here.
Probably should ask the gnolls if there was a little bit of a safer way, huh?
I mean, weather's weather, but I honestly think if you guys see any bears, point them out to me. Maybe we can... This sucks.
Something. Let's do, depending on the weather tomorrow, do we want to do the rope again? Especially across the lake?
I think across the lake would be a good idea. Past that, it might hinder us to, once we get back onto solid ground, in case we do need to dodge the sky trying to kill us.
Yeah. And I'll keep the rope out for tomorrow morning. I'll take the first watch.
Sometime, about an hour or two that passes, and it lightens up in that last hour, but still every now and then. And then after those 2 hours, the icicles have stopped. The full 8 hours of your rest come. Full 8 hours of the comfort of your dome come and end. You finish up that last bit of time to get the full rests in for everybody. Feeling that bitter cold now, just suffering that last hour to find some comfort.
A long rest, I take it.
Yeah. So everybody completes the long rest?
Okay, everyone, we're gonna go. We're gonna think positively. We're gonna will the weather to be good for us, all right?
I like that.
Where's
Yeah,
Marty
yeah,
when you need him?
Uh,
Right.
yeah, we're gonna kick this Cole's ass, and Rowan's just like bouncing up and down, like trying to warm up his own body. And then I'm gonna gesture to Bree again. Then tie the rope around her, and then pass it to the front for more people to tie themselves to. Try to avoid fighting on this at all costs, huh?
Back to the light snow. But it is dark still because northern hours. So it is dark as the morning comes. I reckon you probably have 2 or 3 hours before the sunlight itself peaks up over the horizon. But nevertheless, your rest is in.
Just for clarification, I also have dark vision out to 60 feet. So if there is some darker spots, since I am guiding, I'm just trying to make it clear.
The beauty of even people without dark vision, the beauty of the north is that while it does get dark most of the time, the moonlight and just that northern atmosphere, it never gets super dark. So fortunately, it's a decent amount of. So with your dark vision, it's pretty easy to see a good distance, and even people without dark vision can see pretty well. Because it's just it's nicely lit. There's hardly much of a difference, especially the further north you get, of daylight and nighttime. At least as far as it's just almost the color and the texture of the light. But it does get colder without the sun as well, though. This few hours of the sun make it somewhat more bearable. You make your way towards the bank. Kind of coming across a small divot in valley. Old path, completely covered in snow, some of it icicled, but seems mostly carved. Just over time, by some travel, a not well kept road by any means, but a path nonetheless. You're at the edge of the frozen river. Looking at the frozen river, it is very clear. It's very interesting that you can see it's almost glacial ice, that you can see where the divide happens of the frozen thick part of the ice that you would be able to walk across, and the oceanic river below. Clear water, clear ice. Reckoning, it's probably about 4 or 5 foot deep of ice, 4 or 5 foot thick. Yeah. Decent.
Hey. I think we would all get our bearings, make sure that the rope is tied again, right? And make sure that we are watching where we step. For one, not slipping, and two, to make sure that we are stepping on the thickest parts, even though 5-4 feet. Still want to make sure there's no chance of falling through. You can try and continue tracking up.
Trekking forward. Even the light snow and the cold morning hours, that bitter wind strikes again. Constitution saving throws.
Seven.
19.
Okay.
18 for Kurun, 7 for Briar.
Everybody under 18 takes the full damage. well, whatever the halved damage. So once again, 12, that's already halved. So it was 24 total if you failed and had no protection. So take your halves and take your quarters. 12 and the 6. Cold damage. Okay. Pressing forward, you see Hannah. Pressing forward, you see what almost looks like frozen waves and some further up ahead on this ice river. The fog and the frost emanating off of the river itself begins to obscure the vision once again. But as far as you could see from the edge that you stood on, you have a ways to go to cross the river. A grumble and a groaning of the ice is heard. Just different places of the ice. You don't see any visible cracking or anything like that. Just the sound. It's almost beautiful in some aspects, a almost musical note to it as it groans. And then is quiet. Roll perception.
That's an 18 plus 8.
That's a dirty 20.
23.
With those, some of you with a higher perception are able to see, peering in through the ice, small burrows, tunnels that lead in and through the ice down below. Only that which is right below you. Further out ahead, it's obscured by the frost fog. Up ahead, through the fog, you see a small glowing. What at first looks like one singular orb coming closer is 8 smaller orbs coming closer, and then you hear the another set and another set, 3 of these 8 glowing orbs. Shiny eyes of crystalline arachnids making their way towards the party. Their ice claws digging into the ice and pulling their bodies closer to you. Large in stature, they come through the fog to engage with the party.
So how far into the ice, into the river are we? Like how much time have we traveled across?
That's partially up to you guys.
Just for,
how much you would, how fast you were trying to go. I would say you've probably spent, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes to an hour heading forward. It's up to you, though. It's really up to you. I mean, how fast you, or how far you were trying to go. Obviously, it's hard to gauge. I'm just trying to move it along. So,
sure.
If you want to decide that you weren't that close, then it's up to you. It's your call. I wasn't given a how fast you're going or how far you're trying to go. So,
you guys, help with clarification for that. I think that we would have been trying to go as fast as we could, but as safe as possible as well.
Mm-hmm.
With knowing that there's a 5-foot layer of ice, I think it would be comfortable to say we walked at a faster pace, but not sprinting. We would have, as if we were walking on ground, but a little bit more cautiously. Like if we approached what may look thinner, taking that time to walk around that, really trying to stick to that hard ground. So I'll speak on behalf. Sorry, Seth, but I'll just go ahead and just say there was a conversation between Cole and Rowan. Rowan would have said we can probably walk faster across this.
That's fine.
So
That's what I was looking for.
Like mall walking over this.
Just, mall walking. I love that. Yeah.
It is ice, so at least it's ice, but it's I won't say that it's like rough terrain by any means. Like it's ice and it's relatively clear in some places. There's maybe some places where it's slicker than others, but it's mostly like coated over like a texture of ice that wouldn't necessarily impede your movement much. So you're trying to move. I didn't know if you wanted to be further in or if you wanted to be closer to from where you came. So I wasn't trying to at any rate, they are approaching. So
Asher's going to go to the lead one and polymorph the lead one into a snow rabbit.
Before we do that, we will do initiative, but that will be also next episode. All right.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Combat finally.
Question mark.
Do we get to see Aurelia fight? Have we got to see Aurelia actually fight yet?
Not really.
We have.
Not really.
We have.
Like we have.
We have.
I was just questioning.
We have. You haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't. Yeah. No.
She was
This is gonna
invisible.
be
Well,
most
also,
of it,
nobody
but-
saw her fight because she was invisible.
Yeah, she was invisible, so it doesn't count. Yeah.
But we
Guess the
as
Tathlers need
players
daggers,
have
bro.
seen her play. We as players have seen her play, but anybody else has not. She's that fast, for all we know.
She stabbed it, dude.
All right, everybody. You know what time it is? It's time to say goodbye. Don't forget, do the things. Exclamation point candles. Get yourself some Wick and Skull gaming candles. Exclamation point minis. Get yourself some Hero Forge minis. Exclamation point Discord. Come hang out in the Discord. There it is, grabbing titties. There it is. And don't forget, stick around. We're gonna show somebody some love. We're gonna do a little raid. Before, I also want to say thank you for following Calamity. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed. If you're still sticking around, but stick around. Show somebody some love with the raid. Don't forget to show us love so we can do the IRL thing. So tell your friends, tell your wife, tell your husband, tell them with a knife. Haha, poetry. And now, stick around. Show somebody some love. After the intro, the outro.